been very busy, smoky, fiery here in California, but we continue on, regardless of climate change. So let's go over to the board and look at where the most polluters are, where the most CO2 comes from. So let's go by nations first. China is first, the US is second, India is third, Russia's fourth, Japan's fifth, and so on and so forth. So these X's are where oil is produced. Now you noticed that the countries that have the most stuff pollute the most. So what are the materials that are so badly polluting our planet? Well, of course, the oil and gas industry is number one. Lead acid batteries is number two. I bet you didn't think of that. So when you buy a car battery, make sure it's a good one, so it lasts as long as it can before it has to be thrown out into the environment. Batteries are polluting because in India, where most of the batteries are shipped, they're broken open and all the lead acid flows down onto the ground and into the rivers and ends up going into the oceans. A very bad pollution. Mercury, coal, pesticides. That's another thing we can do. Don't use pesticides. Use something else. Or move to a less pest-prone area. Arsenic in the water. Of course, that's done by mining, especially gold mining. Do you really need gold plating? Chromium industry for dyes, paints, and tannin of leather. That's another place you could go. Make sure there's no chromium in whatever it is you're using. And of course, single-use plastic. It's number 9. It could easily be number 1. Over the years, so many people have told me to keep politics out of the environmental movement. Impossible. Politics is completely entangled in everything to do with the environment. Let me show you an example over on the board. So the Orange Man here in the US has rolled back big game hunting regulations that have been put in here in the US for years, such as stopping the import of trophies from Africa. Well, he just got rid of that law. So now there'll be a small number of hunters that will be able to bring in trophies from Africa. So in the past 2 years, the U.S. has granted more than 36 permits to bring back trophy heads from Africa. So who's the company that pressed the Orange Man into doing this? Safari Club International. In 2016, the Orange Man's issued 38 permits to import just lion heads alone as a trophy. So he wants to even roll back more so that you can import lion heads, elephant heads, and Bontebok heads as trophies from African nations. Really sick, since all these are endangered species. So the Interior Secretary, Ron Zinker has received $10,000 from Safari Club International to run for the position that he holds now. But a lot of this comes down to the voters who voted in the Orange Man and brought all this hell onto the endangered species of Africa. The U.S. is so bored it has to go to Africa, kill endangered species for something to do. And you know who is getting these permits? Mostly Republicans. I wanted to show you one more thing about politics in the environment. How are we supposed to change things with the Orange Man fighting against us so hard? Let's go over the board and I'll show you what I mean. So with Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, now gone, a new horrible person named Andrew Wheeler will continue to roll back environmental rules that Scott Pruitt used to do. He first started to roll back fuel emissions standards on trucks and cars. That's got quite a story to it. He's also going to roll back clean power plants. In 1 month, you'll be breathing a lot more pollution from these plants just alone. Current fuel standards are saving $1 trillion on gasoline per year for consumers. It also keeps 12 billion barrels of oil in the ground. But they're saying that their logic is because of this. With vehicles getting less gas mileage, people will drive less, causing less accidents and save on fuel. Do you believe that? Andrew Wheeler also doesn't believe in climate change sea level rise and thinks that the hype that all these islands and coastal cities will flood soon is a bunch of BS. By the way, the CO2 levels are the highest in 800,000 years. August 1 saw 407.57. Last year at the same time, 406.31 parts per million. So I have a link to Paul Beckwith's last video. Excellent video. I suggest you go watch it. He will get into more and more reasons why we're having the problems that we're having. You see the battery light is flickering on the camera, which is surprising. So I certainly do appreciate all the comments on the last videos, and the ups and the downs, and definitely the new subscribers. And until next time, on a very busy month, we'll see you next time.